activities of SML have been picked up by the OSP and locked up in NIB cells. You remember Reverend Amishadai, who, you know, is part of the leadership of SML, has been picked up, and another gentleman has also been picked up. Now, from where you sit, okay, one would safely assume that this is Operation Recover or Loot at work, that if there is ample evidence to suggest that some people had taken advantage of the loopholes that there existed in the country and had taken advantage of that loophole to, if you like, milk the country, you know, without necessarily providing any form of service, then that ought to be investigated and perpetrators brought to book. Let's look at, first of all, how the investigative bodies have conducted themselves in respect of this SML matter, and whether or not there's any justification whatsoever in arresting the two gentlemen who were formerly with GRA, for which reason this matter is now really taking center stage in most of our discussions. Let me start with you, Prof.
Yeah.
Is that a good question? Is that a fair question to ask?
It is, but
okay.
I'm also circumspect with my submission and very careful.
This is not this is not sub judice. This is not a matter that's before the court.
You are a lawyer, so I have to.
This is just an investigation which has been opened into, and we're talking about an investigation as it relates to the work of Office of the Special Prosecutor, not as it relates to the work of court.
Yeah.
So we can freely comment on this matter.
Yeah, and again, if you don't say things right, the OSP can pick you up here after this.
You are not Professor Jampo. You are Professor Isaac Bwede.
Anyway,
proceed.
Kwame, just for this particular case, you back and forth, different turns, different submissions, presentations, sometimes in terms of facts. Ghana is ranked, I think, 70 out of 80 in terms of corruption scandal issues. Yes, by the 2023 survey report.
High.
That's high. So, things that will border on corruption, will stand against and will kick against that. Will not entertain any act that leads into that. Two, we are struggling with employment in our country. As a country, unemployment rate very high. So I'm trying to give you background to the plethora of issues that we have in our country. Corruption is a problem. Unemployment is a problem. In fact, for businesses to thrive in Africa or Ghana, it's very difficult for business because of some of these issues. And when you hear some of these conversations, they are not in good place when we talk about businesses, how they should thrive in our country, Ghana. Having given you a background to some of these issues, let's look at SHRAG, YOCO, and the OSP. In fact, these institutions or bodies are to help deal away with corruption and a lot of scandals in our country. So my submission is that they should be resourced, they should be helped all the time to unravel some of these cases as and when they come. In fact, they should even allow the cases to even come. They should try as much as to prevent it from happening. For the past 6 months, we have seen the OSP actively working. In the previous regime, we saw a few, some exercises conducted by OSP. But this particular regime, very, very active, going after these companies and individuals who have been seen to have issues in terms of procurement and contract breaching and all that. It's fine. I don't have any problem in terms of their actions and what they are doing at this moment. Let's subject the issue into discussion. Right. What is the problem here? SML role in this whole thing. SML takes contract from the previous administration through GRA, right? They sign an agreement with them that they'll provide revenue assurance, as far as I'm aware, purely risk or reward and risk issue here. Revenue assurance. That's all that I knew. And again, they were to take care of the downstream and then the gold, the mining areas. They started operation for some time. I don't know the upstream whether they've gotten a contract or not. I'm yet to find out. But I'm told that they've signed a contract, but the implementation have not started. What is the issue here? As far as I'm aware, if you're providing an assurance to an institution or to a company, to a country, then issues about funding or monetary issues, you are not actively involved. So what I know is that when a fuel is picked from MPA, all right, then the SML will provide a data of the quantity of oil taken from MPA. Now submit the report to GRA and tell GRA, so and so quantity of oil have been picked from Bost or from any other depot. And this is a taxable income you must calculate on. So go ahead and calculate your tax on the quantity of fuel being picked from this storage. Then GRA, based on the fig data, will calculate and then tax the downstream, the more companies. That is, as far as I'm aware, that's what they are supposed to do. But we have been saddled with issues about corruptions, issues about procurement or breaching of contract. And I'm a bit difficult to understand what is the issue here. Is it about the data they provide to GRA are not accurate? Or they find other ways of going around to collect money from these Indians who pick the fuel? I'm yet to be told. So when they provide a revenue assurance, it's difficult to understand some of these things. But let's remember, there was a committee set up by in Parliament on petroleum account or something. And they came out with a report of wrongdoings about SML. And that report exonerated SML. KPMG report was established. And you know who was in charge of KPM reports? The same GRA boss currently, he was in charge at that time, KPMG. He signed the report. In fact, some portions of the report clears SML of any wrongdoing. So it's puzzling, it's difficult to understand where the issues are. But okay, let's be honest. If there are issues with the contracts and you want to cancel, do we cancel contract in such a manner? Do we, if you want to take a permit from court to go and search a warrant, I don't know what happened on that day, whether it was a search or they went and vandalized. I'm saying I don't know the content of the search, the warrant, whether it was just a search or to what we saw on the TV. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. But the point is that anytime there's an issue with a contract, you have two options. In fact, anytime you do businesses, contracts are subject to review. You can review a contract all the time. And when you review a contract and decide not to go ahead again, you cancel it. If there are issues with the contract you cancel, you're going to have it. Then prepare for judgment debt. The issue about Zumra was an issue of renewal of contract. The state decided that we are not going to renew your contract. They cancel it. Fair enough. So sometimes the rumble style and the posture sometimes is worrying. I don't have a problem. I'm not a spokesperson for SML. But the point is that if we have corrupt acts or certain things that are stray, that there are scandals, investigate. Go to the court. If you think you want to cancel, cancel. Because the impact of what maybe the actions of OSP could presume an impact to other businesses and international community will not go away. And I give you the standard in terms of our ranking of some of these issues in our country. So I think something must be done. I am in full support in terms of any activities of our institutions, the SHRAC, the YOCO, and then the OSP.
Okay.
Then, would you mindful of the impact?
They cite procedural inconsistencies. The fact that procedural, even how the contracts were awarded, GRA went ahead to give SML the contract despite PPA's disagreement. Okay, because it was against Public Procurement Authority's guidelines to award contracts, to companies that it found not to have had any expertise in that field. So, and the contracts were still awarded to SML, albeit the red flags that were raised, right? That's number one. Number two, if you look at the persons who are involved in the management of SML, you are looking at persons who were with the Ghana Revenue Authority. So, for instance, you're talking about Reverend Dr. Amishada Usuamwa. Okay, at the time, he was the Director General of the Commissioner General, beg your pardon, of GRA, and he oversaw the SML contract that was an expansion. Okay, now, so again, and this was against the advice by PPA, because that is why they are saying that there are some procedural breaches. Then if you look at Isaac Crestel, he was also what's it called, Customs Commissioner between 2015 and 2019. Okay, and then subsequently transitioned to become the General Manager of SML. Okay, then you are looking at Christian Tetesoti, who I believe is the Managing Director, but he was also with GRA. As technical advisor. So, if these are not red herrings, I don't know what red herrings are. That you have people who were in a system, a particular system. So let's say I work with Pan-African Television, and I move out of Pan-African Television, set up a company, ostensibly to provide production assistance to Pan-African Television. Then you, Prof, you are at Pan-African Television as the production head of Pan-African Television. Then I apply to the company, then Honorable, who perhaps is the general manager, approves of the agreement. Then I start. Then you go on retirement, or you leave Pan-African Television as the production head. Then you come and join me, Kwame Usudanso, who is now the managing director of, let's say, Kwame Usudanso Production Company, providing service to Pan-African Television. The optics. And if you're talking about conflict of interest, these are real cases of conflict of interest, that you have the benefit of an information and use that information for your own advantage or benefit, or for your pecuniary interest, for your own pecuniary interest. So these are the matters that, whether we like it or not, it is not so much about whether they were able to offer the services. It is about the procedural impropriety which characterized the whole agreement, and the three persons who are involved in this whole enterprise. That is where the problem is. That is why it is being investigated. It's not so much about whether they were able to diligently do their work, whether they rigged in so much for the country. It's about ensuring that the processes and the procedures, are done or were done properly in giving out the contracts to SML.
Yeah, I'm happy you mentioned the procedural breaches of that. When did these individuals join the company? I'm sure after they had gone on retirement. I stand for correction. Good. That's one issue. Those, for instance, I set up a business today, and I walk to your outfit to sign a contract. I present the profile of people who are supposed to be in charge of the organization. And then you do a background check about these individuals. And you still go ahead and sign the contract and give me the contract to execute. When there's an issue, who should be the first person?
Against the counsel of a regulatory body that ensures that contracts, you mean
the PPA?
Yes, PPA. Because
have you cited their documents?
No, I have read the KPMG report.
Yeah. I've cited that of
What's the report saying?
What? I think you need to have a copy of that report. I am a bit...
I don't have a copy of that report. So educate me.
Well, for what I've seen...
Enlighten me.
I'm yet to also find out because I have not seen...
No, because because if you look, you see, this whole investigation is born out of Manasseh Awuni Azuri's fourth estate investigation into the operations of SML. You get the point? And through the investigations, they were able to now identify the lapses that there existed prior to signing the contract with GRA. And the investigations led to the conclusion that even PPA was against awarding the contract to SML by reason of the fact that they did not have expertise in that field. And the contract was still awarded to SML, okay, against the professional advice of PPA. That is why I want us to look at it the way it is. I mean, let's literally look at it.
We are not looking at performance in this case.
Nobody has talked about performance because even
issues.
Yeah, because even KPMG, when they came out with their audit report, did not find anything wrong with the performance, that there was nothing wrong with it. But the procedural breaches are what really they are looking
my
at.
position is not entirely different for other discussed.
Enlighten me.
For me, performance, I'm happy it's not about performance because that's where I would have had issues. If it's our procedural breaches, what should you do as a country? You sign a contract. What happened? I gave you an example about Zoom Lion. It has not been extended again. It's cancelled. So if you think that there are issues, for instance, you mentioned age and experience of a company. Before you want to award a contract, in fact, experience matters. It's very important you take age of an organization into consideration, how many years they've been. But I can give you countless occasions of companies that have had very good experience over the years and they have underperformed. Companies that do not have any experience have also performed. Zoom Lion started, they didn't have any experience in the collection of garbage and all that. They awarded a contract. So for me, whether it's age or experience of an institution is about the ability of that entity in terms of execution of contracts that have been awarded. So I don't have any issue. If it's about procedural breaches, we can fight this issue in media space, radio and TV. The courts are there. Cancel the contracts. If they are going to have judgment dates, prepare for it. If there won't be any judgment date, you walk away. So whenever you sign a contract, my issue is that once you keep doing this to companies, what happens to other companies and the potential award of contract from other countries? Remember, all these ones, they are going to be employed today. What happens to them?
So what are you saying?
What I'm saying is
that we should overlook the breaches.
What I'm saying is
and support them because they are local industries.
Take the case to court. If there are issues with the contract, review and cancel. Why must we battle this on the media and having every day is on OSP and SML, OSP and let's take we can discuss it on for some time, but after a period, we don't want any case to something to happen and this issue will go under the sleeve. We should confront the issue if it's at the court level, because you sign a contract, you have to review the contract, and when you do a review of a contract, you have two options: either to go ahead, or to cancel it, or to terminate it. So a decision must be taken. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't have issue with the performance. We discuss it. Procedural issues are very important. If those issues were not adhered to, and now you want to take a decision, do it. We don't have a problem.
Okay, I'll come back to you, but let me come to Honorable on this subject matter. Honorable, you've listened to Prof. Prof does not have a problem with the investigations generally. He has a problem with how we are publicizing, if I got you correctly, how we are trying to publicize the investigations and making, if you like, getting some PR benefit out of it, etc. Prof does not really have a problem with the performance of SML. If we have issues with the procedural breaches, we should tackle it and address it as such, and not necessarily box all of them together as though there were procedural breaches and issues with performance as well. What would be your position?
Well, thank you, my brother. May I KOD,
yes,
I have said it countless times on this, your platform, that any country that is able to get rid of corruption will be able to develop and provide the basic needs for its citizenry. I have said again that corruption is Ghana's canker. Corruption is our enemy, and it is the reason we are not able to develop this country to what it should be. God has blessed this country with so many resources, natural resources. People are taxed everywhere. We get GRA all the years will come and tell us that we have even over-collected. We've collected over our targeted revenue that we want, and all of that. And yet, we are not still getting it right. SML is a warning to the living. It's a warning to the living. And I'm saying this because when you are privileged to be in a position to help run this country, don't take advantage of it. Don't take advantage of it. But if you look at the former GR El Shaddai, you look at Crystal, you look at the Christian Tete Sotie, if you check, I want to believe that these people, by virtue of their positions or former positions in GRA, took advantage of the system to create SML. I even want to ask, who are the owners and directors of SML? If you even dig to know, you will get to know that these people are even behind it. And SML is one of the problems Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta is facing. Is one of the cases that the OSP, YOCO, and other agencies, security agencies or investigative agencies are looking for Ken Ofori-Atta. Yeah. KOD, let nobody take advantage of your position and exploit this country. KOD, people are struggling. Our roads are bad. Our hospitals don't have the right equipment. There's poverty staring in our faces. The youth want industries to work. The youth want jobs to work. And yet you have one person, 1, 2, 3 people who can condone and connive to take billions of dollars or cedis by way of revenue assurance to the country. And many people send this warning signal. This was a bad deal. This was a bad contract. Let nobody enter into it. Let them stop it. They did not listen. Today, you see, when I started, I said that SML is a warning to the living. Yeah. People should take a cue from some of these things, and they should know that power is transient. Power is not a permanent thing. Even life itself is not permanent. So if you are privileged to be appointed or to rise to a position of privilege where you need to serve this country, do it diligently and make sure that after your exit, you are not found wanting like these people are found wanting. Today, what is the point in making all the money through such means? Then at the end of office, you cannot even sleep in peace. Your children see you, they see your names on social media, you are under arrest, you are wanted, you are a fugitive, you are this, you are that. What do you drive from it? You have kids, you have family. KOD, these people should know that if you are given a position to serve, it is not for you to come and enrich yourself overnight. And for me, I am happy that President Mahama is not leaving any stone unturned in terms of fighting corruption. And he has warned his own appointees, if you indulge in corruption and corruption practices, do not expect him to protect you. No, you will be sacrificed. You will face the full rigors of the law. And he doesn't miss his words. And President Mahama, as I know him, he will not hesitate. He wouldn't. He wouldn't. So let everybody be careful. Because SML deal, why? I'm told at the end of the contract, the state was supposed to pay some 5 billion plus to SML. How much were they going to collect for the state? And for what job done? And how was this procurement done? How was the contract awarded? Like you are talking of the bridges. And how come that it is only supposed workers of GRA and ex-workers of GRA who are now managing directors, general managers of SML? How come? Simply conflict of interest. Why will it be so? Why will it be so? Please, let me also say that let people don't also think that the government is harassing people. Look, if we don't name and shame people who indulge in corruption in this country, I tell you that the fight against corruption will be nothing. There are people who want this investigation done undertone so that they can find their way and do things. No, let the public know. If you are somebody, you are a reverend. The former GRA boss is a reverend father. You have a church. You are a reverend person. And yet you've gone to GRA and this is what you've done there. Let us know. Let us know. Prof, I can also say that if those people, the SML management and those that have been picked, if they also know that the OSP or the investigative bodies have done something wrong, they can also go to court. They can also go to court. They can sue them. They can also sue them. The fact of the matter is that I don't get it. You see, corruption is so attractive in Ghana that everybody wants to get somewhere and make money. Everybody. It is the reason why I believe that President Mahama I believe in President Mahama's stand. Because if you are a leader of such a country and you don't crack the whip, you are not disciplining yourself, I tell you that the country will be looted. And that was what happened previously. That was what happened previously. Let's support the president's fight against corruption. Let's support the investigative bodies so that they can fight corruption, so that we can have good money to develop this country. Our schools are struggling. Just yesterday, NIA workers are on strike. They want good condition of service. Teachers were recruited in 2024. They've not been paid. Even though the ministry is working so hard, they are doing validation of their records in order to pay them. Nurses just they call off their strike not quite long because of service condition. And you have one or two people who can collude, condone, and connive and take so much money in the name of a contract with questionable, reasons. We should not allow that. Let's try to make this country better for all of us. We travel to China. People come to talk about Singapore. Go to these places. They've made corruption unattractive. China, I'm told, if you get involved in corruption and you are caught, even your children and generation will never get any government job there to do. They won't employ them. They will not, because they've made corruption unattractive, such that nobody wants to get involved in corruption. I've gone to Kigali, Rwanda, what is it, Paul Kagame? No, you can't get involved in corruption in Rwanda. There are many countries. There are many countries that people will just want to serve the country with patriotism, with their knowledge to make the country better. Yet, when it comes to our jurisdiction, people are looking at juicy areas to make money. I want this place. I want to be put here. I want here. I want here. Ask him, what is he going to do there? And let me also caution. You see, if you are also an appointee and you allow yourself to be used by the powers that be today, tomorrow, you will be the only person to answer.
Preach.
You will be the only person to answer. You won't have that big man coming to say that we were the people, or we had the president, or we have this big man concerned before this contract was entered. It is your signature. It is your signature that is appended. So you are the one that they will take on. So I said it. The memory of the living is a warning to the memory of the dead is a warning to the living.
The memory of the dead is a warning
to the living.
We are still with you. Let me still stay with you.
Let people be careful when they have the opportunity to serve. Don't let pressure from anybody to allow you enter into a contract with your seat that will be facing prosecution.
Yep.
You will be the one that will be investigated.
True.
It won't be that big person or that big office that has asked you to consider this deal. Let's be careful with the deals, the contracts that we sign. It's an advice to our current appointees. Let nobody be lured into signing any dubious deal that tomorrow you'll be found wanting. If you are not in that office, go home in peace and be with your family. Don't go there and disgrace your family tomorrow by way of entering into any dubious thing. Because these investigations that have started, it will never stop. President Mahama is a legacy president. He is setting standard, and this standard will never be lowered by any any substantive or any incoming president or government.
Yeah.
Let's be mindful, because his sanity very key. So let's be mindful. Let's be mindful. But what is that? My last point is that looking at who are the managers of SML, I can confidently say that it was something that a group of people took advantage just to enrich themselves. That is what I can conclude.
KOD, an entity or any organization or individual could have A+ performance, but if other things that help to complement it is deficient, they surely must be looked into. A highly performed entity, yet very corrupt or susceptible to breaches, is not worth considered or was problematic. Let the long arms of the court act. OSP should not find solace in prosecuting these small fishes, letting the big fish off the hook. Good morning. Sani Salihu sent this to me, and I've read it for you, Sani Salihu. Now, let me still stay on